Hi there. This video is about increasing our lung capacity. But before I start with lung capacity, I want to add to the last video I made about mm, dilation of our nasal passages. And I forgot to mention that uh, you have to use a finger to block one nostril and then relaxed and then relax and then blow gently out from the other nostril. And if it comes out in a very forced way, or you feel that it's not really clear, not really allowing free flow of air, feel tight there. Yeah, and once it's cleared, because you have um, created the right conditions, maybe apnea, depriving yourself of oxygen for a while, the nitrous oxide that is formed from that is secreted from the sinuses will somehow dilate the uh, nasal passage concerned. And when you go on the water and you put your one finger on the other nostril and then you blow through here, now you will find that the bubbles come out very nicely and without much resistance. That means it's able to flow freely. And then you can test the other one. You put your finger here and then you blow to the other one, and you realize that okay, it's good. You don't have to do anything. It was like that before, you started, and now it's still like that. So now both are uh, allowing free passage of air, which is good, which is very good. Okay, now having done that, let's get back to lung capacity. Long ago, I cannot imagine myself swimming underwater for any long distance. To me, long distance could be even to swim across the breadth of a Olympic-sized pool was a big challenge. It was almost not possible. I was just almost reaching, and then I had to come out for air because maybe my stroke was not fast enough. But obviously, even as a teenager, I couldn't do it. I saw somebody swimming the breadth, of the Olympic-sized pool, getting across with, underwater, breaststroke kicks, underwater breaststroke, just breaststroke underwater, or even a freestyle kick underwater, or flutter kick underwater, or dolphin kick underwater. I would be very impressed. Yeah, because you don't see people doing that very often. So, when I was a kid, a child, so that used to impress me. Today, of course, I can do it easily. Can do it with the dolphin kick, again, underwater dolphin. I can do the breaststroke, and yeah, not really a problem. And 25 meters, just flutter kick on this without breathing. Yeah, also possible. So almost everything is quite possible over 25 meters, and 50 meters swim without breathing, just swimming on the surface freestyle. I've done it many times. It's nothing remarkable. Most competitive swimmers can do double. They do it easily. So, but when I was a child, I couldn't do all these things. When I was young, teenager, in my 20s, I couldn't do these things. So I was wondering, hey, how come when I get older, now at the age of 60 or in my 50s, I started to be able to do this. So now in my 50s, late 50s, I started to be able to uh, have a so-called larger lung capacity. So yeah, you get better when you get older. How can it be? So it got me wondering, could it be more, I don't know, more vascularity, more blood vessels around the alveoli, and then more receptors for the oxygen that comes in. Could be, don't know. Could it be I now pump a lot of air, so my alveoli have more or less dilated to the maximum. They are enlarged. Maybe the whole apparatus, the whole apparatus, breathing apparatus in the lungs has become more extensive. Hmm. So I don't know exactly. More surface area gained because of I don't know, time underwater, submerged, and then blowing against water pressure. So that maybe created that environment where you have more surface area for gases exchange. Could be. Also don't know. And you hear about athletes, who live in high plateaus, where Nepal, Mexico City, where the air is thinner, relatively thinner than at sea level. And people who train at high altitudes, they develop a good, very strong lung capacity. They adapted to the thin air environment, and they became very efficient in the way they absorbed oxygen from the air. So I think something like this must have happened. Then all questions, I have a lot of questions. Then one day, I think somebody told me, or I read somewhere, in yoga, if you do you promote the Udana Vayu, the energy that goes up, from above here, up. Somehow it allows you to hold your breath more effortlessly, without having that urge to breathe. Then I always thought to myself, yeah, it could also be that, you can do this, then maybe this part of the body there's a pump here, I mean, you can see the lizards, they can puff up their necks. Yeah, so there's some flexibility here, So maybe there's a way to have I don't know, there must be a way to make the body adapt, not adapt, but rather control the urge to breathe. And where would the urge to breathe start? I think could be the diaphragm. Could be the diaphragm, and around the waist, below the rib cage. Again, there's another pump. I mean, you got those guys who do the Taoist Qigong. They have the Shang Tan Tian and pumps here, and then the Zhong Tan Tian. The pump is at the solar plexus area, diaphragm. Then you have the Tan Tian, which is the bottom, and you have the pelvic floor, as the other pump. And of course, the feet are also the pump. I mean, there's only ways to pump your chi around the body. But okay, major pumps in the torso, there are 3 of them, as far as I know. And if somehow you activate enough of your this bandha here, bandha means lock. So if you can have this bandha at the neck, which is called the jala net. Jala means net. So you pull this, your whole body, the net, is connected here. They pull the net through the body. So you're able to pull, and most people who work on the Jalan Bandha, they work also simultaneously with the Uddiyana Bandha, which is the one at below the rib cage, at the belly there, And then they also somehow connected to the Mula Bandha, which is at the pelvic floor, the one at the bottom. So once you got this one working, and you work it during the practice of pranayama, and it yokes the body together, this like connecting your head back to the rest of the body. So you're no longer somebody who has been beheaded, without a head. So now you join the body, you become integral, wholesome, and connected. And when you do that, you pull up and down, especially the Uddiyana Bandha, at this place, at where the diaphragm is. I'm very sure that the moment you achieve some degrees of freedom there, or you have some control there, the urge to breathe is disappearing. Yeah, you have the urge. Yeah. there are a few urges, you know. There's the urge to eat, and that could be controlled maybe at the lowest one, the mula bandha. And if you're good there, you know, all the nadis there are clear. Urge to eat is already conquered. You don't, no longer, yeah, you live to eat or eat to live. Yeah, you are more in control. So you eat to live. You don't live to eat. You know what's good for you, and then you eat what is good for you. And yeah, the other control. Okay, you can urge to breathe. Okay, can also be you can stop breathing. Kumbhaka, you know, natural suspension of breathing. And maybe over here, you know, suspension of, you gotta master this, yeah. Then maybe you don't need to sleep anymore. The desire to sleep is already gone. You're always in a relaxed state, so you don't need to recharge. You don't need to recharge, and you don't need to spend so much time sleeping. Okay, now back to the increasing of lung capacity. So you want to increase the lung capacity, maybe start with Jala Bandha, but it works with the Uddiyana Bandha, and together somehow you get more control. It could be a good explanation. I'm not sure. So there are many possibilities regarding the increase of lung capacity. Yeah. So I don't know. So maybe there's another video later on which I will make if I find out more. But so far, this is what I know. Okay, take care. Cheers. Happy swimming.